If you do not have a lot of experience with a circular saw, I've got 3 pro tips that are going to take you to places you have not been before. You wanted to go there, you just didn't know how, until now. The quickest way to get better with the circular saw is to get yourself a 7-inch speed square. The 7-inch size is perfect. It can fit into a tool pouch. You can even slap that thing into your pocket while you're working. At the most base level, this is going to be the quickest, easiest way to get a nice, perfectly square line to cut to with the saw. If you want to take things to the next level, use this speed square as a straight edge to get perfectly straight square cuts. Works great with 2x4s, but it's a real game changer when you start to make more complicated cuts. Say you're trying to cut a 45 into some fascia board. For any kind of a 45 cut, it's always best to clamp things in place. That way you can get 2 hands on the saw. Boom, perfect cut. Now there's guys out there that could make the perfect cut freehand to a pencil line, but the reality is they're never going to beat the consistency of the speed square method. The nice thing here is that anyone can use it to make perfect cuts. So in my opinion, this is probably the coolest cut that you can make in all of carpentry with the circular saw. It's the Halflap Notch cut. It's just a thing of beauty. You take one of these Halflap joints, glue this together with some PL Premium, let that sit overnight. That is extremely, extremely strong. So let me show you the best way to make that cut. First thing you want to do is mark out the shoulder of your cut. For a 2x4, it's going to be 3.5 inches back. Make a nice straight pencil line that you can follow. Then you're going to want to set the blade depth. Make a mark on the 2x4, 3/4 of an inch down, right at the halfway point. Drop your blade down, lock it in place. When it comes to the actual cut, you want to make sure that the wide base part of your saw is riding on the main part of the 2x4. That way it's not going to get tippy as you get towards the end of the cut. So get yourself properly oriented, fire up the saw, make that shoulder cut along the pencil line first. Then you want to make a series of cuts about 1/4 inch apart towards the end of the 2x4. What you want to look for here is avoid tipping the saw at the start or finish of the cut. And then make sure you cut all the way through the end. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a high side. So continue those cuts till you get to the very end of the 2x4. Now this is the fun part. Grab a hammer, smack those little tabs around. They break off. It is very satisfying to break those all off. Once you get those out of the way, you're going to want to just flatten out that cut a bit. If you have the straight claw hammer, you can chip some of the bigger chunks off. Then grab a wood chisel. Wood chisel is going to work pretty nice. If you have a Richards red bar, that is going to be the quickest, easiest, safest way to get that nice and flat. The Richards red bar, in my opinion, is the handiest tool in the entire world. You can get them at almost any local hardware store. If you don't have one, get one. Use that, use the scraping part, get it all nice and flat. Repeat the cut on your other piece of wood, and you have completed your first half-lap joint. Now this one here is something that most people never actually learn how to do properly with a circular saw, and that's how to take this rough cutting machine and make cabinet grade precision cuts. So I am going to demonstrate how to do that by needlessly cutting down my bedroom door. First point here is you can get nicer blades for the circular saw, like a 40 or a 60 tooth. Going to make nicer cuts with those blades. That being said, I'm going to show you how to make silky cuts with just your general purpose 24 tooth blade. So if we're looking to get a nice clean cut on both sides of our material here, you want to get some painter's tape. Circular saws are prone to tearing out the top side of the material. So if you need to get just a one side cut on a piece of furniture where the other side's going to be hidden and you'll never see it, you can always cut things upside down. That being said, with this door, we need it nice clean on both sides. You want to get some painter's tape to protect the fibers on the top edge. Go ahead and throw some painter's tape along the cut line and then really press it down into the surface of the door here. Then to get a nice straight cut and avoid any of the chip out that can occur from twisting your saw, a straight edge is the way to go. To figure out where you need to clamp that, figure out the offset of your saw, which is just the distance from the edge of the blade to the edge of the table. Then if you need to, you can also throw down some more painter's tape to protect the finished surface of the door. A lot of times the base plate of your circular saw is going to leave a scuffing mark. And then the thing that a lot of people overlook with this cut, you need to set the proper blade depth. If you have that blade too low, the chip out is going to be bad. You want to set the blade just below the bottom surface there, about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Go ahead and make the cut, keep it nice and steady, ride right along that straight edge, cut all the way through. Go ahead and remove the tape. For the sharp edges of the cut, take a sanding block and just kind of smooth those over. Give it a little bit of a chamfer. That's going to prevent any chip out in the future. And hey, if you want to learn how to miter door casing with just a circular saw, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I am currently, definitely, probably working on that video right now. If we're in the future and the video's already made, that'll be right over here. I'm scared to go to the end. Oh God. Will I hurt myself? Oh my God. It's freaking holding at the very end. Oh, there was a crash. That was probably as good as it's gonna get for this laser.